Hello people, welcome to another edition of A Dose of Drew, and here on Black Friday we are doing an all black CJRB Swags Maileah. This is not a new knife, but it's one that's on special. A lot of the knife makers are doing specials here on Black Friday, so I'm doing some of the good oldies and goodies that could be on sale. There's a lot of sales going on this weekend. I'll do a few reviews that match up with some of the knives that you might find on sale. But this one's really quite nice. The sort of cleaver type sheep's foot, the nice lobed handle with a drop on it, that is quite cool. Let's get some standard measurements here. Have about little under 3 inches of cutting edge, almost 3 inches as the crow flies. And it is about 3 1/4 to scale. It's about 7 inches overall. This is a nice mid-sized length, but or small size length with a medium-sized thickness. Real quick on the weight here. Get some standards. Just over 3.5 ounces. Not bad. It does have skeletonized nested liners on the G10, which is quite nice. About 3.6 ounces. Some of the other measurements here. Blade stock, 3 millimeters, 102 thousandths on the blade stock. Behind the edge thickness, this is AR RPM 9, the powder metallurgy version of 9CR18. 19 thousandths behind the edge, and I got that first try. So yeah, we got, it's 19,000, isn't the thinnest, but it does give it quite a bit of robustness for especially up near the tip. Let's do some quick referential measurements here. Get the normal Spyderco sandwich with the paramilitary 2. As you can see, very similar hand space to the paramilitary 2. From the beak to the choil is very similar to the amount available on the Maileah. And we'll do the Para 3 lightweight, where you can see again the overall hand space is very similar between the two. High flat grind, saber style grind on the sheep's foot cleaver utility blade, which is nice. And it's not just a blur and not just any leak, but a random leak. Once again, smaller size, lots of hand space, similar to the leak, but with a greater height, which really does give it quite a bit. A little bit here with going to do the right here a little bit with the Civivi Elementum, and another one here is the CJRB Pyrite, a new one that's coming here. I'm thinking about bringing this in, but as you can see, it's right in between those. Not a bad space to be. And here it is compared to my Wiener, though my Wiener is approximately the same length there. It is definitely thicker across the way, and as you notice, it points up instead of down. All right, so let's get into the design here. The lobe design gives it this sort of push that's in there. This black with gold style or brass styling fittings on it is really quite classy in that design. This nice thick lobe gives you, it's 3 fingers, 3 plus fingers, with the pinky doing sort of backup duty when you have it in the saber grip, in the full saber grip. But once you get either up for the choil choke up or in a pinch grip, the thumb studs make a nice little spot to pinch in. Your finger can wrap around, and then these fingers go good, as well as it is right, for me, it is right at finger length for scoring cuts and that sort of stuff. Very, very nice. Gives you a lot, that load plus the drop gives you a lot of finger clearance while still providing very nice ergonomics. The aesthetics, I think, look good. It folds up tight. The front flipper is nice, but the thumb studs to me are definitely the way to deploy. The liner lock makes it nice. The choil hits just right. Very good action. Looks great with that sheep's foot or reverse tonto, whatever you want to call it, and the swedge. Looks fantastic to me. And the bearings that it runs on, well tuned for a liner lock. You can slow roll it, reverse flick it. It has a very large tab for the big flick. It's just really, really nice. While being fidgety and useful, it still has great, but comes very well apexed as well. It seems to, it doesn't always have, it's one of those things where most factory edges are pretty good apexed well, but when one's nicely even and noticeably well apexed, it's worth mentioning. The noteworthy points on this, it is a Swags design, so it is an American designer, Chinese made. It's affordable. You're going to find it on sales now, but usually it's below $50 for this, for G10, ARPM 9/0, so it's definitely in the good part. Its intended purpose is, they have said multiple times, this is an EDC knife. It's designed for EDC tasks, and it does those well. It is a package piercer. That tip is very robust while still being acute enough to get a good angle in. It's almost like that 60-degree angle, which is just about perfect. So it is a package piercer. It is a shrink wrap or bubble wrap slicer where you can get lots of control and, you know, make that thick plastic disappear quite easily with the sharp and controllable tip. It is, of course, a cardboard carver with this nice long bit and a good belly to move through, and it can do a good fair amount with it. All of that edge to be able to move around, you can do a fair amount of cardboard cutting and breaking down. And of course, it is a package or an envelope eviscerator extraordinaire, where in the reverse grip it can easily just move through envelopes by the stack. Very, very good on the EDC stuff, and that seems to be its intended purpose. And its noteworthy point is that it does it so well. That is its intended purpose. The cost to value ratio, look, in any of these $50 knives that have a decent steel and really good execution are going to be incredible deals. That is where some of the best value 2023 has been. In the sub $100 range of knives, where you're talking the $50 to $80 range, has just a ridiculous amount of really good knives with good steel, good execution, and great designs. There's really become a sweet spot there where you're able to get outstanding knives with good steel and a variety of steels for that, in that price range, that just are incredibly well done. And this is no exception. And since it's in the lower end of that range, it really lends itself to that. It's a smaller knife, so some people with bigger hands or that want a little bit more like heft or chopping power, this may not be the knife for you. But for general everyday EDC use, everyday carry, everyday tasks, this is really up there. And this is just way up there. And I expect it to be so. CJRB usually has high quality. Expectations I had from this knife were of CJRB quality. It definitely has it. The design was one I have heard a lot of good things about from other channels, and, you know, doing some research on it. So I expect it to be good. It's better than I expected. It's not head and shoulders. There's just small details like the little dip after the jimping that gives you a nice place to rest your finger if you're not trying to really choke up. So you can choke back with your 3 fingers and have plenty of space, while in giving you a lot of choke up with the thumb. It's a very well thought out design that has things in just the sort of the right places for lots of different grips and lots of different capability. That's really good. And they've done a lot with this knife. I don't have a lot of requests. It could have been a better, like, I don't want to say a better steel, but a more, edge retentive steel or something like that. But for what this is, and the price point, that's really what it is. It's supposed to be a high value knife that really goes with the Swags styling they have, based on some customs and all that stuff. The Maileah is just a fantastic design. And by making it affordable and while still having good, decent steel, it has decent toughness, corrosion resistance, and 440C like. Between 440C and VG10, AUS 10, it's right in there. There's similar performance, edge retention, all that sort of stuff. Well within most testing noise as far as compatibility or comparability. So they do a really good job of providing a good steel and a good design and a good execution. There are lots of things that I don't want to say could be better, but it just, it could be rounded. I would love a more rounded on this lobe design, a contoured scale that is a little bit thicker. I would love to see a new button lock version of the Maileah, believe it or not. I think that would be really cool. It would thicken it up a little bit and provide an opportunity to maybe have flat up here and then contoured lobes down here that would really fill up the handle. That would be the closest thing I have to a request, is give us a version 2 of this. It might be a button lock, compression lock, or some sort of, crossbar lock, anything that, something other than maybe say the liner lock that allows you to have contoured the lobes down here contoured. That would really just bring the comfort level of this up while providing a little bit more heft and thickness in something that is already a really nice design. And that's really the huge part of this. The design is really good. It's well thought out. It's not a new design that has no people behind it. It definitely has use. The aesthetics are unique enough that you can see it. You can see the lobed handle, the sheepsfoot design, the sort of S-shaped sweep to the entire knife, which gives you lots of knuckle clearance and space to use the knife on an everyday basis. And that's really, really cool. There's not a whole lot more to say. I really personally like the aesthetics of the black and gold. That's a pretty nice combo that always seems to stand out. So that really does work well. And they do a great job on the coating, I'm not necessarily always the biggest fan of coated blades, but if they're done well, it's pretty good. My favorite, of course, is the DLC and that sort of stuff. Cerakote comes close. But yeah, this one I do believe is PVD at this price. Still a great way to do it. 9CR18 is perfectly fine as far as its corrosion resistance. It didn't need it for that. It's more about maintaining the stylistic theme, which I appreciate. Mechanics, of course, are great. The design is unique enough that you know what it is. The mechanics are great. It's noteworthy in its design and its intended purpose of just all-around EDC, which it does, and it executes and does very well. It was very well thought out. And it is at an incredible price point. It's at such a high value that it's any deal you can find on it, you may as well get it as a secondary knife. And of course, this being a Black Friday drop, it being all black gives it a little bit of extra panache. And of course, you expect it to be good. It should be. CJRB has great execution. If you have a sample, or if your particular representation of this comes out bad, it is most likely a quality control glitch, not a representative of the entire brand, or of course all of the knives. It seems to do pretty well. If you get something else, definitely get to customer service, because it's not a standard kind of execution. And really, the only thing, again, maybe something with a different lock type. Since it is a front flipper style, the ability to put something like a crossbar or other type of lock back here is well within the design limits of it. Maybe not with the front flipper, but you could easily put the hook in there. It has a lot of possibility, and of course, with this big lobe right here, instead of having flat scales, having something rounded in there. Worth mentioning, the hidden lanyard point, if you are a lanyard person, it's up on top, and the angled pocket clip that really, when it's sitting in your pocket, really keeps it as tight as it can up against the side of your pocket, so it carries very nicely. Pretty good, relatively lightweight, without being underweight and still being heavy duty. So very well done by CJRB. I'm going to give this one a 92. It's hard to find something in the 80s these days. You got to start finding more stuff to nitpick, I suppose. But this one's just a little bit lower. There's a lot of things it could be. It does its job as a budget banger absolutely well. This is a high cost to value ratio while giving up a little bit of some other niceties in order to drive that value. It's just a good all-around general purpose EDC knife, and it does that very well. In that case, it goes a little bit higher, but it's just a really well done. This drop on here is great inside the palm. It doesn't have any hot spots. It's not a matter of piercing, but it allows you to get lots of leverage on it. Anything where you have to do a reverse gives you extra leverage. It's just really nice in that. And it delivers it at a good price point. This is not a new knife, so I'm not going to beleaguer the point on this. This is just really well done and has been known to be good in the industry and in the hobby for quite a while. So this is going to be relatively short, but we're going to drop it anyway because the Maileah is just good. if you're on the fence, look, there's a reason this one's good, and people don't have to believe her. Like, it's just that good. It's like, what do you say? It does all the EDC stuff well. It's not overpriced. It's, you know what you're getting for the money. It uses standard things to compromise on. It gives you a decent enough steel at a low price. G10, nested liners, liner lock, and a good solid thumb stud construction. Does it all very well at a low price point and a high quality control with great execution. Just something CJRB does very well. With that being said, you guys, I'm going to wrap it up. The 90 to 92 is representative of its sort of budget status, but don't let that stop you, because its actual bang for the buck is pretty high. You won't be disappointed. It's different enough that you're not looking at the same market as something like, say, a Civivi Elementum, or even a Pyrite. Even maybe the closest thing that you could get on Pyrite would be the Alt Pyrite, which has a little bit more. But again, if some sort of mechanism like this button lock was put on the Maileah, that would be a whole nother game. I personally would like the crossbar lock, but CJRB does well with the button lock. That would be the only request, the contoured handle with a different locking mechanism. Other than that, great knife. So I'm going to go ahead and end it here. I think I said that before, but I'm really going to end it here. So everyone, go ahead, take this video, watch it twice, comment as much as you like, be mindful of side effects. Remember to like and subscribe. This has been your Dose of Drew. I am said Drew. You guys have a great rest of your night.